I feel like at any point, all these books are going to fall down. If there's blooper reel of books attacking me, I foresaw it happening. Hi everyone, my name is Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading, and today we are looking back at a past book haul. I did one of these videos a couple months ago where I looked back at my very first book haul, and it was interesting to see, had I read the books, which ones did I still have, which ones did I unhaul, all those things. So we're going to do it again. We are going to look at the book haul that is my second ever book haul on this channel and react to that. Now we're just going to do a quick preface that this is my second ever book haul on this channel. I did not know what I was doing. The footage is blurry, everything is blurry, and I was also buying books very differently back then. I would shop at used bookstores and kind of just pick up whatever kind of floated my boat, and I was not super selective of what I picked, which I have changed my book buying habits a lot, where I am much more picky about what comes in. If I'm not sure I'm going to like a book, I will use it from the library. And then if I do like it, that's when I will get the physical copy. So I'm hauling less books now. You will notice there's less book hauls on this channel just because I'm being a bit more selective of what I buy. So in my early days of BookTube, these hauls were big, and they were a lot of books that I don't necessarily know I would read now. Some of them I would, but there's definitely some odd books in there where I'm like, why did I pick that up? That was because I was buying way too many books. So that's our little preface. Let's get started. Let's jump in and let's see if I have read any of these books. I certainly hope so. This book haul was from October 2022. So it has been just over a year, almost a year and a half since I hauled these books. Realistically, I really hope I've read some of them. Really, really hope. There will be a counter somewhere on screen as we go through editing. Brittany will figure out where we're going to put that. And we'll see which books I've read, have not read, and unhauled, because I'm sure there are some books that I've unhauled. I'm a big unhauler. I don't keep a lot of books because I don't reread a lot of books. I do keep my favorites, but if it's not a favorite, I don't tend to keep it. That being said, I do unhaul quite a lot. When we did the reaction video the last time, a lot of these books had been unhauled, but I really hope I read most of these books. I did not do that well in the last video, to be honest. So let's dive in. Let's watch past me and we'll see how we go. If you see that I'm looking kind of off camera, that's because the video is behind you. It is behind the camera. So if you're like, why is she looking over there? That's where past me is. So we're gonna watch me. This video is titled Thrift Store Sale Haul. So I'm assuming there was a thrift store sale. That's what I'm getting from this. Let's dive in. Book haul for you today. The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner. So I have read The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner. I have read this. I picked this up during the time of the Twilight read-along, which was hosted by a plentiful amount of booktubers at that time. This book is the novella between, I think, New Moon and Eclipse. Don't quote me on the location of that, but I think so. I had never read the novella. I did not want to support the author and buy it full price, so I was very excited to find it in a thrift store. I think that is the farthest I went in the read-along. What I realized is that I was a Twilight girly as a teenager, but as an adult, they don't hit as well for me. But I don't want to mess up the nostalgia of them, so I just stopped reading them along with the read-along. But I did read this. And I do still have this because I have all my Twilight books. Will I ever reread them? No, because that's what I learned from the read-along, is that I just want to leave them as they were when I was 15 and I could not see the issues that are Twilight. But I have read this, so we've got one for the win. Starting off strong with a red book. The Other Passenger by Louise Candlish. Okay, to be honest, forgot I owned this book. So let me go grab it. So we have The Other Passenger by Louise Candlish. This is a thriller. The reason I'm sure I picked this up was because it's blurbed by Lisa Jewell, Sherry Lapina, like Lucy Foley. It is blurbed by some of my favorite thriller authors. So I'm assuming that's why I picked this up. I, however, have never read a book by this author and somewhat forgot that I owned this. So maybe this is the time, because I don't think I mentioned this already, but you will get to vote on a book for me to read that I have not read in the comments, and I will be reading that. You'll get to see me add this to Timmy's TBR or what have you after you've picked the book. This is going to be your first option for choosing. So this is a thriller. It all happens so quickly. One day you're living the dream, commuting to work by ferry with your charismatic neighbor Kit in the seat beside you. The next day, Kit hasn't turned up for the boat, and his wife has reported him missing. So it sounds like there's a missing person. I can see why I picked this up. I really like books that are similar to this. Confessions on the 745 is the first one that comes to mind. This is the first book that I have not read. The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. I read The Name of the Wind earlier this year and adored it. Okay, The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. Y'all, this is a chunky one. It's large. This is The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. This is the sequel to The Name of the Wind. This series is not finished. This has been on a couple of potential TBRs for various things, but the audiobook is like 48 hours long, which is why I think I am intimidated to pick this up. Plus, the series is unfinished, so I'm in no rush to read this book. However, it will catch me up and finish me in a series. So that's kind of exciting because I'm trying to get caught up or finish series this year. There's reasons to pick this up for sure, and hopefully I'll get to it soon, but it is definitely unread. Okay, I also got Ruby Red by Kirsten Gier. I have read Ruby Red. I have also read the second book, Sapphire Blue. I have not read Emerald Green, but it is on my Roll of Reads TBR for this month. So there is a possibility that I will have finished this entire series very soon. So yes, check read. I still own this book. It is upstairs because these covers are absolutely beautiful, but I'm only grabbing the ones that I actually need to read. Two other books that I got at the thrift store were The Land of Stories, Book 2, The Enchantress Returns, and The Land of Stories, Book 3, which is A Grim Warning. I already have book 1, so I wanted to get books 2 and book 3. So I even tell you there, I do own book 1, and I have not read book 1, so I obviously have not read books 2 or book 3. So I need to read book 1 before I can mark these off the list. But since I can't read these without reading book 1, I will grab book 1, and that will be the one that you can vote for. Okay, the first book is The Wishing Spell. It is the first book in the series of The Land of Stories, and it is written by Chris Colfer. This is a reimagining of a fairy tale land. Honestly, this sounds like a ton of things that I will like. I love fairy tale retellings. I love these kind of stories in a whimsical middle grade way of saying it. Perfect. Also, reading this would probably fill a lot of Bookemon prompts because there's a fairy godmother prompt, and I see that there is a fairy godmother on the back of this book. So I feel like this would help me get a lot of things done. So if you picked this, I wouldn't be mad. I also picked up The Monarchs by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. This is book 2 in the Raven series. I have read The Monarchs. I read the entire series. I liked the first one a little bit more than I liked the second. The first book I gave 4 stars. The second one I gave 3, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. But these are dark academia stories based around a secret society at a college. And it's witchy, it's secret society, it's a little bit dark academia, and it's like a magical school setting. So if you're looking for any of those things, this would fit, but I have read this book. So I'm not keeping track as I'm going. Editing Brittany will do the math, but I feel like right now I'm not doing too horribly. What am I at, like 50%? I think I'm at like 50%. So the next book I got is The Midnight Witch by Paula Praxton. The problem with this is when I got home, I realized it was not the first book in a series. I assumed it was a standalone, and that was a mistake. So as you can see in the video, I kind of explained this. I thought this was standalone. It was not. And I decided not to try to figure it out and have unhauled this book unread. This one I am very excited about, and it is City of the Lost by Kelly Armstrong. I have not read this, but I don't know why I haven't, because I was very excited when I picked up this thriller. This thriller by Kelly Armstrong, there was a couple things that got me, and I do explain it in the video, but one is the little tagline on the back. But also on the naked hardback, there is like a little bit of embossed writing, which is super hard to see on camera, so I will just read it to you. I have 96 hours to prepare for my disappearance. So basically, you need to figure out where you would go if you suddenly had to disappear. So we follow Cassie. Cassie is a detective. Cassie has actually murdered someone in the past. We know that right from the synopsis, but Cassie got away with it. No one is looking for Cassie. That is not necessarily why she's needing to run. But now her and her friend Diana are on the run from Diana's abusive ex. And I think some of Cassie's past starts to weigh into what is happening. I have not read a thriller by Kelly Armstrong, but I'm excited to get to this one. And I was really excited to get to it when I bought it. So I'm kind of disappointed with myself that I have not read this. I also got I Was Told It Would Get Easier by Abby Waxman. I have read this. I really liked The Bookish Life of Nina Hill by Abby Waxman, so I started to systematically pick up Abby Waxman's books. This one I have read. I did not enjoy it nearly as much as I enjoyed the first book that I read, but I do have a few others, so I definitely want to see if I do love this author or was that one book really an outlier for me. We'll see, but I have read this. And the same with S.J. Watson. I already have an S.J. Watson thriller on my shelves. Second Like by S.J. Watson. I have not read this thriller. However, my mother has read this thriller and did like it, so I need to read it so that we can discuss it together. She took it off my shelves a little while back and read it. She really enjoyed this book, so I definitely need to get to this so that we can discuss it because I know she's wanting to discuss this with me. I think she read it during Amazing Readathon, to be honest. I feel like that's when she read this, but I could be wrong. This has almost no synopses, so I'm just going to read this because there's no way for me to regurgitate 6 lines in any way different than what it is here. She loves her husband. She's obsessed by a stranger. She's a devoted mother. She's prepared to lose everything. She knows what she's doing. She's out of control. She's innocent. She's guilty as sin. She's living 2 lives. She may lose both. Second Life, 2 lives. What is happening in this book? I don't know, but hopefully I will read it really soon and find out because I know Mom does really want to discuss this with me. I also picked up The Rumor by Leslie Cara. I have not read The Rumor by Leslie Cara. This is another thriller, and if you notice a trend, there's a lot of thrillers in this book haul. However, at the very end of 2022, the start of 2023, this was filmed in October, I started my romance era, and I read a lot of romance last year. And right now, I'm really in a fantasy era. I'm still reading some romance, but I'm mostly reading fantasy and sci-fi. So my love of thrillers, I still have it. Don't get me wrong, I still love a thriller, but I'm not picking them up as often since I filmed this haul, which is maybe why so many of these thrillers are unread. I'm starting to see a trend. I need to get back into my thriller era, everyone. Do not know when that's going to happen, but I need to get back into it soon because I have all these thrillers that I need to read. So this book follows Joanna. Joanna is at her school doing school pickup when she hears a rumor. The rumor is that there is now a killer living in their suburban area. This killer actually killed someone as a child, so has now been released, served their time, and obviously when children commit crimes as children, their names are kept a secret. It's not in the media. No one knows their actual name. So Joanna starts passing along this rumor, and we start to kind of see what happens as a result of that. Is there actually someone living in her neighborhood? We don't even know. So we find out throughout this book. Draculas Guest is an anthology. It's edited by Michael Sims. I know that a lot of people wrote the stories in this. I have read Draculas Guest. I read it just this past spooky season when I read books based around Dracula. It was a really interesting anthology of really classic vampire stories and kind of the lore around vampires. It reads like a classic work because there are a lot of classic works in it. There's like Nathaniel Hawthorne in it. Like it reads very classical. So keep that in mind. If you're picking it up, it might be something that you don't enjoy the stylistic of, but I did really like it. I did have the audiobook though, so that definitely helped me get through it. So I also have The Perfect Wife by J.P. Delaney. Another thriller I have not read. There's a trend, everyone. I see a trend. We have The Perfect Wife by J.P. Delaney. I'm not reading my thrillers, everyone. I'm not in a thriller era. I was when I was buying these. I'm not anymore. I will return. I'm sure I will. But I'm not reading that many thrillers right now. And apparently I was buying a lot back then. So this book follows Abby. Abby wakes up with no memories. She's with a man. He says he's her husband. She has no memory of this. And we find out that she has actually been in what it sounds like to be somewhat of a coma in a hospital, and they have kept her alive for this time. She was in an accident, and now she's coming out of it and kind of rediscovering her life. What is true, what is not. She doesn't trust what she's being told, but obviously she has no memories. So that's kind of what happens in this thriller from what I'm getting from the synopsis. I have liked an amnesia thriller before, so this does actually give me quite high hopes for this. The last book I got from the thrift store was The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. This, I'm laughing because it's literally right there. Look, it's like I put it there. You know what? Since it's going to return to where it's come from, we're just going to leave it there. This book, The Queen of the Tearling, I actually have it displayed on my shelves because it's so pretty. Have I read it? No, I have not. But I do really want to read this. I've heard great things about this fantasy series. And that's really all I know about it. I don't know anything about it because I'm not going to go grab it because that's where it's going to go anyway. So we're just going to leave it there. It's a fantasy series. It's the first in a series and it's super popular on BookTube, or it was at the time that I bought it. This one I was really excited about finding, and it was Dial A For Aunties by Jessie Q. Sotano. I don't know that much about. I have kind of read Dial A For Aunties. I read 150 pages of Dial A For Aunties and I DNF'd it. I know so many people love this book. It wasn't for me. I have reasons. And I have since unhauled this book, but it's half read and unhauled. The last book I got at Little Free Libraries was Free Fall by Jessica Barry. Nope, another thriller I have not read. So in Free Fall, we have our main character, Allison, and also a main character of Maggie. Allison is in a plane with her fiance as a pilot when the plane crashes. And Allison, from what it sounds like, is the only survivor. And she is in the wilderness trying to get out of it. She is not being found by the people and she is lost in the wilderness. Maggie is our other main character, and I'm not sure who Maggie is in this small town, but she lives in a small town near where the plane goes down. She realizes they are not finding Allison and she starts to go looking for her. Why? I cannot quite tell from the synopsis, but some things clearly go down because this is a thriller. And it is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. I have read Amari and the Night Brothers. It's fantastic. If you are looking for a fun middle grade with a magical school and a little bit of a mystery, you will love Amari and the Night Brothers. It was great. I still need to read the sequel. That needs to happen. I thought I would get to it last month and it just didn't happen. But I have read the first book, so check. That is the last book on this book haul though. And since I did not do the math as I went along, editing me will know for sure, but I have a feeling that I did not do very well here. I need to read more of the books that I buy, but now it goes into your hands. You saw all the books that ended up behind me on this shelf. You get to pick which one I read and which one goes on my April TBR. So comment down below, comment the name of the book that you want me to read next month, and I will make sure it goes in the TBR after I've tallied up the votes. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to hang out with me more, my links to Patreon, Instagram, and Goodreads are always down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe so I can chat with you on this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.